connect with Spirit, we can feel it. We can feel our connection, knowing we are at the leading edge of God consciousness. We are one with the Spirit of the universe. We are unique. We are precious. And we are here to do a mighty work. And we have everything we need. For that, for Spirit, and for all the ways that Spirit manifests around us, every precious soul we encounter, and all the love they give us. We are so blessed and so grateful. And so it is. Amen.
Tangled up in miracle, we were listening to the Reverend children sing.
Sing, 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 sing.
Coming low as the garden river flows, while the August light becomes a golden evening.
Yeah.
And I will lead you down that road if you lose your way. I'm gonna be a protector. And even though I know someday you're gonna shine on your own, I will be a protector. God picks right off a given tree. I give water to the soul, and now it feeds me. And there you are, shaded underneath it all. I feel proud of who I am because you need me. And I will lead you down that road if you lose your way. Want to be a protector. And even though I know someday you're gonna shine on your own, I will be a protector. And even though I know someday you're gonna shine on your own, I will be a protector. Oh, protector. I first saw your face in your father's gaze. There's a long line of heads carrying your name, lifting you up so you will be raised. And even though I know someday you're gonna shine on your own, I will be a protector. And even though I know someday you're gonna shine on your own, I will be your protector. Protector. Oh, protector. Protector.
Wow. Thank you so much, Todd. Thanks, gang. So I want to begin by saying Happy Mother's Day and honoring all the moms who are with us this morning. And I would like to give you all, along with the rest of the folks here, a unity blessing. So for any of you who are unfamiliar with that little tradition, what we do is we have them stand up and we, kind of rub our hands and get them nice and warm and point them at them when we say, Moms, we love you, we bless you, we truly appreciate you, and we behold the Christ you are. Can we do that? Moms, would you all please stand so we can bless you? I know you may not feel comfortable with it, but it's time to get some love back, right? All right, so let's get those hands going if you like doing that. And say together, Moms, we love you, we bless you, we truly appreciate you, and we behold the Christ you are. We love you, really, we love you. Woo! I saw a meme that, and I'll just also preface this by saying Mother's Day and Father's Day are two of the toughest days there are to be up here because there are a lot of people feeling some kind of way about those 2 days, right? So I also want to say that we are holding space. If you're feeling some kind of way, if you're loving a mother in heaven, if you are longing to become a mother, if you are experiencing a hard relationship with mom, working through the struggles of motherhood in which mother isn't, right? Aching as a mother with a child in heaven, mothering a child who was not born to you. If you're about to become a mother, if you are showing up in all the ways of a mother for someone, we see you too. We bless you too, and we honor where you are as well. And if there's healing that needs to be done, may it begin now. Yeah. So this month, we are talking about the core values of this church, this spiritual community. And as it happens, one of them happens to be love. And I thought that that was a particularly appropriate topic for today. And as I got to thinking about it, having the core value of love as a church has some commonalities with being a mom. Your love can't be conditional. You got to be vulnerable. And your love has to have hands and feet. When we say it can't be conditional, it can't be I love you, but. And I was thinking about it. One of the greatest examples of how a church can do this the wrong way is all of those organizations who would tell our LGBTQIATSP plus friends that they love the sinner but hate the sin. Anybody ever heard that before? Yeah. I find that appalling. Yeah, it's like, how do I say this without saying things I can't say from the pulpit? Yeah, I can get kind of wrapped up about that. But the truth is, there are a lot of ways that we prejudge people and say they're not like us, they're not good enough, they're just too different. My wife she grew up in the LDS church, and recently she's been writing about that. Maybe not so much as part of her things as an author. She writes all the time. She's got several books going. But I think maybe as a way of healing. And so yesterday we were having a date day, and we had actually, she found in the shopping area we went to after we went for a hike, she found there was a Mormon bookstore, and she was like, "Oh, we got to go. I want to get an action figure." Okay, baby, we'll go get you an action figure, right? So we're talking some about this. It always stirs stuff up and brings stuff up. And she's relating some of the things to me because she bought one of it was like a book on, this is how the universe is laid out from the pre-life to the various afterlives, and what you kind of got to do to navigate your way through. And there's like this chart with all these shapes and circles and things on it. And she mentioned that not only are women not allowed to be priests, and still aren't, but that until 1978, black men were also not allowed to be priests. And she said, yeah, they had a one-drop rule. And I was like, one-drop rule? What one drop? What did they drop? What? And she said, yeah, if they had one drop of African blood in them, then they were not qualified. I'm just like, whoa. Yeah, if you go far back enough, you'd probably be able to knock everybody out with that rule, right? So many ways that we judge others. I mean, to be honest, Unity Village did not allow black people to stay there overnight until after the 60s. We're guilty along with a lot of other people in prejudging. And, I'm hoping those days are behind us, right? We have to be willing to extend love to people who are different from us. And this is not just including, but especially in ways that make us uncomfortable. I love you, but usually ends up with something that could be paraphrased as, you're not doing it my way, or you're not like me. And that's not what real love is. Real love does not demand control. Now, okay, if you're 3 and mom tells you it's time to go to bed, go to bed. Okay, got it, right? There's some extenuating circumstances. But we have to be willing to welcome the stranger, even if, the stuff they're thinking and saying is really strange to us, as it sometimes is. And this one's tough. We have to be willing to be vulnerable, and I know moms know all about that. From postpartum depression to the empty nest syndrome. Wow. What a gut punch it is to have been a mom for all those years, and then suddenly, what do you got? You get called when they feel like calling you. You get to see them when they feel like seeing you. This past weekend, Laura was in Alabama watching her youngest daughter graduate from college. And when she got back, I could tell, aside from just being exhausted from the trip, because every time she goes back there, they run her ragged, or she runs herself ragged with her friends and relatives. But I could also tell, there's emotional weather and emotional climate. And I could tell her climate was pretty far down, and I was like, okay, honey, what's up? And she said, I've been a mom since I was 23. It's more than half my life, my entire adult life, really. Now what? That's the way I've defined myself. That's what felt like it was important. Yeah. We have to be willing to put ourselves out and become vulnerable when we do the things that we do together. We have to make ourselves vulnerable. I mean, being a minister is like painting a target on yourself. And we walk into this eyes wide open, right? And it's okay, because it gives me the chance to love people at depth and to do what I can to be of service to them. You know, that's just a huge privilege. Being able to serve, to be part of that, whatever part of the community is, and it doesn't matter whether you're, you know, one of our folks who sweeps the sidewalk, making the place look nice before people come in, or you're on our hospitality team, or you're one of our prayer chaplains. You know, there will be times when this work calls you to open yourself up in ways that will hurt. Ask our prayer chaplains, right? Being with people in some of the most difficult moments of their lives is just, it is draining, and you take on part of their pain, and it is absolutely worth it. You know, just like it is absolutely worth being a mom when your kids get hurt. You know, I get that. Now, when I say we make ourselves vulnerable, you know, that doesn't mean that we don't still maintain a few boundaries. It's okay to have healthy boundaries, right? But we need to de-weaponize our interactions with others. And that's not a skill that we learn well in this culture. When somebody throws a rock at us, we tend to throw it back. And we have to stop that. Not just as people, not just as a church, but as a species. I look at what's going on right now in Palestine, and I just want to, you know, grab the Israelis and the Palestinians and shake them and say, stop throwing rocks. It doesn't matter who threw the first one, who threw the last one, who got hurt more, who got hurt last. Just stop it. Russia, go to your room. You're on timeout. Right? You know, what the earth needs is a good mom, right? You know, it's just to tell people, no, you can't, no. You sit over there, you sit over there. And you know, I know this church has gone through some times where rocks were thrown, and I just want to honor those of you who have stuck around, who are still here, and who made sure that there was a church for everyone to come to this morning. You know, without you, this doesn't happen. And your love for this place, your love for each other, and your love for the message that we are doing our best to get out into the world, it's making a difference, even if it doesn't feel like that some days. Now, in terms of being vulnerable, what I have to ask is, are we able to be vulnerable enough to hand the reins over to the next generation of people, whatever they look like? You know, in some of the reading we've been doing as a board, it becomes very clear that when a church stops looking like the neighborhood it's in trouble. And the look of this neighborhood, from what I have been told, has changed over the years. Are we ready in our hearts to find a way to bring those people in, to let them know they are loved here, even if they don't look like us? That they are welcome here, even if they don't look like us? And that, you know, they are going to be the next generation of this church, even if they don't look like us. Can we do that? Right? Because that's vulnerable. We also have to put hands and feet on our love, you know, just like moms do. You can't be a mom from the couch. I mean, you can. I've met one or two, but the moms that I admire the most are the ones who are out there doing with their kids, you know, doing for their kids, with their kids, doing with the other kids in the neighborhood. You know, they have the houses that the kids want to come to. I want that to be us. I want this to be a house the kids want to come to. right? You can't just say, I love you. We've got to show it in the things that we do. So as a church, if we say that we're here to change Bellevue and the Puget Sound region, and if you look at our vision and mission, that's exactly what it says. We have to get engaged in doing good works that extend beyond the boundary lines of our property. Amen? I mean, I love the fact that we're taking good care of the place. I've seen, the folks out doing the yard work outside and, kind of sprucing the place up, and I am so appreciative for the work that you guys do. And I know that for this community to know who we are, we have to go further. And we can decide as a church collectively what that's going to look like. One of the worst things that can happen to a church is for it to be forced to close its doors and nobody in town misses it. That's not going to be us. The Apostle Paul was a church builder, and what he did was went around to different places, and he would build a church, he'd establish it, and then he'd move along. And he'd do it again, but then he would also write letters back to some of the churches that he'd founded. So Paul has moved on from Corinth. And the folks in Corinth have found another spiritual leader, real charismatic guy named Apollo. And he has really been doing some interesting work, kind of in our language, we'd say he's really raising the consciousness. And he's got people doing things like speaking in tongues and prophesying and, making all of the, like, ooh, we're real spiritual. Today it'd be like, oh, my consciousness is so high, or my chakras are all aligned. Right? But Paul, he has to write to them and kind of square them away a little bit and just remind them what the church is really about. And there is a section in his letter, it's verses 12 through 14, and he's talking about spiritual gifts, right? And he finally gets to the gift of love. And he says about it, if I speak in tongues of human beings and of angels, like speaking in tongues, right? Like they were doing back there because Apollo told them how to. But I don't have love, I'm a clanging gong or a clashing cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and I know all the mysteries and everything else, and if I have such complete faith that I can move mountains, but I don't have love, I'm nothing. If I give away everything that I have and hand over my own body to feel good about what I've done, but I don't have love, I receive no benefit whatsoever. Love is patient. Love is kind. It isn't jealous. It doesn't brag. It isn't arrogant. It isn't rude. It doesn't seek its own advantage. It isn't irritable. It doesn't keep a record of complaints. It isn't happy with injustice, but it is happy with the truth. Love puts up with all things, trusts in all things, hopes for all things, endures all things. Love never fails. As for prophecies, they will be brought to an end. As for tongues, they will stop. As for knowledge, it will be brought to an end. We know in part, and we prophesy in part. But when the perfect comes, what is partial will be brought to an end. When I was a child, I used to speak like a child, reason like a child, think like a child. But now I've become a man and I've put an end to childish things. Now we see a reflection in a mirror. And one of the teachings that they were using was that mirror was wisdom. Okay? Now we see in a reflection in a mirror, then we will see face to face. Now I know partially, But then I will know completely, in the same way I have been completely known. Now faith, hope, and love remain, these three things. And the greatest of these is love. We can get caught up in a lot of other things. You know, I can teach a lot of things, and I will, because a lot of us need different things. You know, some of us need to work a lot on forgiveness. We're going to dive into that. Some of us need to work on the idea that, you know, the universe isn't out to get us. Right? Some of us need some more shadow work. But if we don't do the things we do with love, if we don't come from a place of love, we're not getting it, and we're not accomplishing the mission. It can't be conditional. You have to be vulnerable. It's got to have hands and feet. We have to love the people that we encounter here in the church and representing the church in the wider world, wherever they are in consciousness right now, no matter how difficult it is. And it's going to be a real test this coming year. Right? There will be times when we really want to lash out this coming year, and I want us to do our best to resist the temptation to throw rocks. We will need to practice vulnerability as a church, and we also need to stand up for what we believe in as a church. Because to be honest, if we are putting hands and feet to our faith, we are advocating for and serving the marginalized. We're standing up to the domination system of our day the same way that Jesus stood up to the domination system of his. If we are basing our decisions on love and not on power and wealth and fear, there will be people who want to throw rocks at us. We got to try to resist the temptation to throw them back. Most important thing. So Jesus is in Jerusalem. He's hanging out on the temple grounds, and some of the Sadducees and Pharisees are trying to play stump the chump. They're trying to get him to say something that will be a sound bite they can use to crucify him. One of the legal experts heard their dispute and saw how well Jesus answered them. He came over and asked him, "Which commandment is the most important of all?" Jesus replied, "The most important one is, Israel, listen. Our God is the one Lord, and you must love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your being, with all your mind, and with all your strength. The second is this, you will love your neighbor as yourself. No other commandment is greater than these." So, for anyone unfamiliar, the way that we define God is as all things, right? God is the universe, everything in it, all that lies behind it, and the laws by which it operates. When we say we love that, yeah, there's a lot of pain in there. There's a lot of injustice in there. You know, there's a lot of that's not fair in there. But we still have to love what is. It's tough. I know it. It's really tough work. But if you can visualize for a moment the universe as we know it, right? Because there's more, I promise. I just don't know what it is. We don't. We're so small we can't even begin to fathom the distance between here and the furthest star. Its light that we see is so old that star burned out billions of years ago. It's beyond human comprehension. But the amazing thing, the wonderful thing, the thing that keeps us in the game is that in all that vastness and in all of the crazy possibilities, here we are. We got a shot at being alive. We got a shot at being conscious. We got a shot at somehow seeing the world differently and making the world different a little bit along the way. And hopefully we're doing it so that we make the world a little bit better for the next person, just like Mom. So we're loving God, the universe, everything in it, all that stuff, and not some capricious, megalomaniacal, superhuman being in the clouds. And we're loving our neighbors, from the next pew over to the next political party over to the next continent over. That simple practice suggested by that counterculture rabbi 2,000 years ago. And it's still the best hope we have for this planet. Just ask your mom. Would you please join me in prayer? Sweet Spirit, on this day when we honor mothers and their amazing